Some seasons are what we needed, but not necessarily what we wanted. Of course, this only becomes obvious after the fact. It's like, oh, you're fired from that job you hate. Still gonna hurt. You're still gonna feel the sting of rejection. You're still gonna react as though something belonging to you was snatched away by fate. At the end of the day, is it an objectively good thing? Yeah, it is. But this is too much for our brains to comprehend while the Band-Aid is being ripped off. We'll piece that puzzle together in 5 months when we realize we no longer wake up with dread. There are seasons to put your head down and live asymmetrically. Meaning that whole notion of all your cups being filled no longer applies. It's for another time. This particular season is about going all in on one or two things at the expense of the others. But life is short, the chorus sings. Sure. And that's why we have to be selective about the seeds we water. In my opinion, no one reaches heights like those who commit to greatness in one particular endeavor. It's only then, once you've conquered the kingdom before you, that you're afforded the luxury of reeling all that matters back in. Or said a different way, you can have it all, just not all at once. And just being honest, being real with you, I don't even like the way that sounds coming out of my mouth. But that doesn't make it less true. Reality isn't always cute. A jack of all trades. Well, he realizes quickly there are too many trades to do anything substantial without prioritizing one or two of them. There are a lot of examples of this, but I think Kanye and his shoes are a great one. It's just simple. He became so good at music production, focusing on that one thing for so long that when it bore fruit, he was then afforded the luxury of pulling anything and everything into his orbit. Extreme example, but also applies in the micro. He doesn't get that world without the head down, produce your heart out season. Then there are seasons of exploration, of growth, of trying things. These seasons tend to be held closest to our hearts because when we're in them, we give ourselves permission for extreme transformation. We pull out the child from within us we've been carrying around and set him free. Somehow shocked to learn he still knows what's best. We shout ideas into the airwaves and see how they dance with reality. We observe how our hypotheses hold up against X's and O's, how our narratives fit into this great play of life. We learn that perhaps there's a reason in each particular season that some things become things we learn to believe in, although it's eventually understood that just because we can doesn't mean we should. Yikes. Trial and error. See, my friends, there's no such thing as bad experimentation. More is not the enemy. Immobility in the name of fear is the enemy. Because even the things that send us down rabbit holes equip us to evolve. Everything becomes data. And those little data points chart your course. In fact, a wiser man than me once said, "They are the very dots that connect looking backwards." This necessarily requires a season of falling forward. Then there are the seasons of loss. The ones where the foundations we once stood on crack beneath our feet. We're reminded of the temporary nature of this floating rock we are on, that all things end, all things go. And it forces us to see the beauty previously hidden in plain sight. Wow, I didn't see this coming. How could I be so naive, the eyes ask the brain. Well, because if you went through life constantly worried about what will stay and what will go, the transience of life would still exist and you'd be miserable. Some people suck, brother. My brain calls me brother. So smile and find the ones who don't suck. Some walls collapse, brother. Some people never find the strength to face that truth and forever weep amongst the ruins. You must learn to shake it off and become someone who merely learns to build again. You must learn that the turbulence is not a referendum on you, it's life doing what life does. It's up to you to navigate, and you can. I saw a video the other day where a man was holding an alligator in the water. And he's saying, "I love this alligator. But my friends, the alligator does not love me. It's in my arms right now because I understand how he operates. I know where to place my hands, where to position him and myself. But if I became careless, you bet this thing would kill and eat me. It's not personal, it's what alligators do." I'm sure that acquiring that expertise cost him more scratches and bruises than he'd care to talk about. Now, the caption on that video was a joke saying, "This is the story of married men and their wives," which reminded me, apparently now part of the target demographic for a joke like this, that I'm quickly approaching 40. But it also made me think the divide between that creature and our world in totality is what? They're both just fragments of nature. Life doesn't have an agenda or hold a grudge. It just requires that we learn how to navigate it. It asks we seek to understand it, being that the options here are either hold it gently in your arms or allow the damn thing to devour you. Then there are seasons of mountaintops, peaks, finish lines. In my experience, these tend to be fleeting. But the years have shown that they're more validation than anything else. The idea went from a quote on my wall to one of the more important things I've come to realize. We don't do hard things because of trophies. That line of thinking is actually inverted. The trophies remind us that we did the hard thing. The climb is why we do it. The pain reminds us that we can overcome. Footsteps in the face of doubt are proof that we're stronger than whatever the devil is whispering on that particular day. It feels good to win. It feels good to be rewarded for, blazing trails few would dare to venture down. But that feeling is a placeholder, in many ways a mirage. Picture someone spinning a basketball on their finger. The trophy is that brief millisecond where you spin the ball with your other hand to keep it moving. It says, hey, you're doing something hard. Don't let these seasons deceive you. Your purpose is what fills your heart and lifts your soul. The view just reminds you not to let go of whatever your purpose is. And so whatever season you are in, here is my ask. Take the time to appreciate it. And I know, you think that's cliche. I've been writing speeches for 11 years. Guess what? The truth lives in the cliches. Also, side note, if our ancestors have been saying the same thing for thousands of years, it's not dumb. Pay attention. There's usually something to it. If you're head down, building, because you have something to bring to the world, dive in. It's okay to put the parties and vacations and Monday Night Football on hold. It may actually even be the best decision you've ever made. If you're in a season of wandering, of exploration, don't treat it as less than. You're setting the trajectory for the rest of your life. Believe it or not, this is more important than the subpar PowerPoint that got you fired, not less. If you're in a season of loss, give yourself grace. I'm not saying celebrate as the door closes. Growth doesn't require emotional numbness. But I believe it does ask that we understand all that goes is merely making room for what needs to enter. And if you're on your mountaintop, enjoy it. But don't tie yourself to it. If you attach yourself to good outcomes, guess what? you will also be tied to the less than ideal outcomes. Attach yourself to what you love, to your pursuit, to meaning. The checkpoints along the way don't define you, your next step does, and there's always one more of those to take. What's up, guys? Eddie here. And before we jump into the next chapter, just a quick note. So, as many of you know, every single video that I've ever put on this channel has been created with the intent of building momentum in your life. If you want something physical to anchor that momentum, we've created the brand AGNS, or Always Grateful, Never Satisfied, for that exact reason. Athletic apparel that embodies the very ideas and concepts I talk about every day. Because you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, we've created a code for this exclusive community, YWW20. You can use that on the website, agns.lifestyle, or right under this video on YouTube. All the stuff is there in the shop. Again, code YWW20 gets you 20% off the entire store. It's a great way to support the channel and also elevate your journey. Let it be a reminder to keep showing up. Appreciate your time. Always grateful, never satisfied. On to the next. I woke up, put my coffee on the desk, opened my laptop, stared at a blank screen, and a little button popped up in the top right corner. Check for updates. Nope. Ask me again later. Why? Why not now? I don't know. I don't necessarily care about the improvements. I guess it's just inconvenient. It can wait. And that's kind of it. Let's face it, the laptop doesn't matter. The update in this scenario is not important. But bear with me, because I think what it stands for, and when you apply it to the big picture, does matter. Our proclivity to take less because less is convenient. Our predisposition to sell ourselves short because it's safer to leave so much of ourselves on the shelf. Because, well, things don't break when they're on the shelf. But you can't be both flawless and live your life. Because life comes with wear and tear. The value is the experience. And a flawless existence is void of experience, of stories, of adventure. There's a little parable about two seeds being planted. And one of them just wants to grow, wants to feel what the sun is like, wants to see how high she can get, experience the breeze, the cool air. And so she grew. And sure, she dealt with hard days. She had her difficult times, but ultimately grew to live her best life. The other seed worried. Worried about leaving her home, the world that was the ground around her, worried about damaging her roots, worried about what could be waiting for her in the dark, about the sun being too hot and the breeze too strong, and ultimately stayed right where she was, playing it safe until one morning a chicken came wandering by and ate the seed off the ground. And see, this spells out a few things. One, we can, at any moment, decide to step into that next level, evolve into that next chapter. But also, not doing so comes with a cost. Sometimes a hidden cost. There's a tendency to think that preserving the status quo, because it's safe, is valuable. But understand something, you are not a collector's item. You weren't made for preservation, you were made for growth. To expand, to reach out towards the heavens and feel that sun, that breeze. And sure, upgrading means vulnerability. It means accepting that the unknown is bigger than you, but also contains within it everything you need. Whether it was people, things, money, resources, I used to think like that seed, right? How can I hold on to what I have? Contain, play small. I can't lose this. I've come too far. I've worked too hard. What if everything goes wrong? I can't upgrade now. Maybe later. Maybe someday when the time is right. When it won't hurt or require that I step outside of this little world I've created. But guess what? Growth always asks of us that we leave the comfort of now. It always offers us the world in exchange for the courage to see the unseen and trust ourselves to bring it to life. And when I realized this, I saw how the act of trying to perpetually maintain the status quo is debilitating. It's looking at life through a lens of scarcity. It's only when you start to grasp how abundant life is that you realize by simply stepping into that person you are destined to be, you'll attract what matters. Some things will go, and you'll leave them behind. But those things no longer serve you. They played their part, they added their value, and are now merely stepping stones as you move to something greater, and that's just it. Sometimes living means wishing you did things differently, looking back and acknowledging that you need to be better. Sometimes living means losing the wrong people in your life to make space for the right ones. Sometimes it means spending days, months, even years wandering down the wrong path so that you can get a glimpse, so that you can realize what the right path looks like. Sometimes it means no reward, no validation until that compounding finally takes place. Finally, you see just how powerful those small steps were and will always be. It means seeing yourself as the person you know you can be. Maybe not necessarily the one you are today, but betting on yourself when no one else would. There's an idea that people are neither good nor evil, but they have both within them. They choose through their day-to-day action how they'll live, who they'll be. And sure, this is a tad oversimplified, but I think the duality is useful, right? Because in a different context, for everything that occurs in your life, you can find a reason to celebrate or a reason to grieve, a reason to grow or a reason to hide. It all comes down to what one chooses to see, how they choose to look at the world. I'll never forget when Peterson talked about curtains, right? With tears or holes in them, same world on the other side. But the opening that you choose to look through paints an entirely different picture, right? Contributes to an entirely different understanding. And look, I'm a pragmatist, I just am. I'd never ask people to close their eyes and pretend everything's perfect, to wander down the path before you expecting everything to be easy. No, but what I am saying is that the path before you is where you'll uncover the meaning in life, and meaning requires that we are from time to time uncomfortable. To go where we most want to go, we must leave something behind. And the reality is that while it's scary, while it can be alarming and even painful, it is always worth it. that what's on the other side is what makes life worth living. I want you to know that you don't need to be walking into the same rooms, talking to the same people, doing the same things. No, not if you've outgrown that reality. Not if you're ready for the next chapter. So let's make a pact to view life not as an obligation, but as an opportunity. Something challenging but beautiful, mysterious but plentiful. Let's view the challenges along the way not as something going wrong or some kind of alarm, but rather an indication that you are doing something right, that you're stepping into the controlled chaos of your day-to-day, finding the courage to meet new people, try new things, take risks, evolve. This is what life is about. And if you can find it within yourself to see it that way, to be grateful for the discomfort that makes its way in and out of our lives, you'll know that you are evolving, reaching towards that sky. Because the danger, as far as I'm concerned, is never what happens along the way. It's what doesn't happen, because we never let ourselves accept what the world had to offer. And so on that note, I think today is the perfect day to upgrade. Came across a quote recently that said the road to success is dotted with many tempting parking spaces. And I thought this demonstrated or captured a realization that's pretty hard to articulate. And that is just how tempting it is to rationalize stopping or discontinuing your journey when life gets tough. How much sense it always makes to want to call it quits when things get uncomfortable. It's like, it's not just that doing something valuable is hard. It's that it's hard, and every 3 feet there's an invitation to not have to do it anymore. There's an endless supply of exit signs and escape routes. Therefore, accomplishing a goal is simultaneously saying yes to the challenging things while also saying no to the comfortable things. It's fighting off two demons at once. The good news, though, is that you were made to do just that. You just have to change the way you internalize the process. You have to change what you see along the way. I talk a lot about perfection as the enemy. And that's something I wholeheartedly believe to be true, but I generally talk about it in the context of perfection keeping us from starting, right? I try and unveil perfection as this defense mechanism that it truly is. Oh, things aren't perfect, I'll wait. Things aren't exactly where I want them to be, then I won't go. Emphasizing that it's in going that perfection is crafted. Like a statue being chiseled from stone. You fall, you get back up, and find that in doing so, you end up with a little more clarity than you had when you started. You let the trials and tribulations of the journey refine the product. And so that's the beginning, right? That's finding the courage to start, removing the idea of perfect when really it's just our fears masked. But what about when you've already started? What about when you're underway, when you're in the midst of those trials and tribulations? Because we all know this. When you're in pain, your body wants one thing: to remove yourself from the pain. When things are uncomfortable, your default is to seek out those aforementioned parking spaces. Reprieve from the grasp of the unknown. Things aren't perfect, then I'm done here. Things feel awkward or uncomfortable or unclear, then why bother? What I want to do right now is make the argument that it's most important to continue forward when we're in these moments. It's most critical to move forward when the road is unclear and those tempting parking spaces start revealing themselves. Things are not perfect, maybe even far from perfect. And this is right about the time when we forget why we started. I've run into this in my past, right? Particularly with injuries. There was a period in my not too distant past when my ankle and shoulder were simultaneously messed up, right? So couldn't run, couldn't really do any upper body work. My physical activity really took a dive, right? So I'm a little discouraged. And sure enough, I found the eat whatever you want parking space. It's like, who cares? You're not working out. What's the point? Just focus on the business. Put a pause on all that stuff. And then eating whatever I wanted became, well, what's the point of getting up at 5 when I could just get up at 7? I sleep 2 hours longer is how I rationalized it. It's not like I'm going to be running. And then there goes some very important alone time, thinking time, and you can see how easily the wheels sort of fall off the wagon. Not because you're a bad person or don't want the result, but because the second things stop being perfect or working the way I wanted them to, I found a parking space. There will be few stretches of time in life when everything's perfect. Things going exactly how you want them to. It will simply be the exception, not the rule. And then the question becomes, can you put your head down and continue forward, knowing that life will call for adaptation and adjustment? But that those tempting exit signs are not for you. They are weakness. They are for those who forget their strength and their courage. I mentioned a little while ago that growth is fighting two demons. Saying yes to the mountain ahead and no to the off-ramps. But when you step back and look at things different, you change the dynamic. You put the odds in your favor. When the off-ramps become reminders of your strength as you pass them one by one, indicators of your commitment to move forward. And when the mountain ahead becomes merely the way, not some giant sacrifice or monster, but merely a path, things simplify in a way that empowers you on your mission. There is no perfect or imperfect. There is adjusting when necessary and taking the next little step along the way. And using the previous example, it's like I'm injured, okay? This will definitely be a time for adjustment. Maybe it's yoga, stretching, practicing being more patient, maybe greater emphasis on meditation, mental strength, whatever it is, but we don't stop. We continue stepping forward. The next step will look a little different, but that's all. If perfect is a standard one's seeking to maintain, they'll always be pulling over. They'll always be backing off, because very rarely do we have stretches of perfection. Life is an adjustment game, not a perfection game. Life asks, what can you do when your hands are tied behind your back? What can you do when you're tired? What can you do when you've just endured loss, when your pride hurts, your plans fail? And trust me, that's when you see all those off-ramps. That's when something in the back of your mind says, hey, all this goes away if you just throw in the towel. Just go seek perfection somewhere else. You'll find it there. But you can chase that rabbit down a million paths. There is no perfection waiting for you, and there is no flawless pursuit. Life comes down to what will you do now? Where you are with what you have, can you find a way to win when it hurts? Look, we all need to understand that life is innately difficult. And success calls for a simplification that is adapting and stepping forward. That's all. Things are hard, you step. Things don't go as you planned, you adapt and you step. But you are always moving towards that North Star, whatever it is for you. It's deeming those parking spaces insignificant with regard to your life and your journey. Quitting is not brought about by the external world. No, failure is a decision. Failure is saying, you know what, this costs more effort than I'm willing to pay. Those parking spaces have become more tempting than the top of this mountain. Failure is a choice. And so, for one to succeed, they must simply stay in motion. Choose adaptation over a self-imposed end. Yeah, enjoy those moments of perfection, the times the stars do align. But see them as the exception, not the rule. We are not defined when things are great. We are defined by our ability to pick up the pieces and keep moving forward when they're not. Our lives are shaped by the exits we don't take, the parking spaces we don't even notice as we ascend the mountain that is life. Because anything other than the road ahead was never an option. You didn't succeed because things were perfect. You succeeded because you found a way to win when they weren't.